Greetings, it's Intuitive Jacob back to do a reading for all 12 tribes. This reading is going to be focusing on relationships, what people are thinking, what they are feeling, and what they're being by how they're acting, and also taking a look at what the common factors are. These don't necessarily have to be any specific kind of relationships, since these readings could be for potentially a number of people. They could play out differently, so you'll have to know whether or not these are your stories, and also know your own genders and whether these are applicable. They might not resonate. Also make sure that you're not just checking your sun, but your moon and your rising sign with me, because I am more of a moon reader. Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck for most of the reading. I'll be pulling 7 cards. 2 of them are going to be for what you're thinking, what they're thinking. 2 are for what you're feeling, what they're feeling. And 2 are for what you're being, what they're being. And then the center card, the 7th card, is what the common factors are. I'll also be taking a look with the Romance Angels Oracles card for people that are interested in things that might have a personal or romantic connotation. And in some cases, I will be drawing clarifiers with La Vera Sibilla. It's my Italian everyday oracle deck. Hopefully you'll find something that's for you, and I'll be catching you on the inside of your reading. Hey, what's going on, Sagittarius? How you doing? Back to do your reading. Just getting some of your energy on these cards here. I have, since the intro, changed shirts. Happens sometimes. It takes a lot of energy for me to get these together. Editing was crazy. My session cut out while I was doing Scorpio, so it's like those happen live for my private group, and I could see them all the way through even if the recording stopped, and then I came back to edit it and I was like, oh snap. So hopefully these will all go up fine. I'm gonna start them and stop them one at a time this time, instead of doing one straight long 6 tribe video. Hearing something, the word term keeps coming up. I'm hearing term, so many different associations with that. I'm going to stay off of some of those. I don't choose to put my energy into that, but there's potentially many different people could be recipients of my messages. I want to congratulate the person who finished their term early. I'm hearing about an early term, and something about somebody's sentencing too that might be a congratulatory note, but yeah, something going on with term, the word term. There's a lot of velocity behind it. You'll know if that's for you or not. Okay. I'll try to turn it this way so you guys can see it better. Here's what's on your mind. Here's what's on their mind. Here's what's on your feelings, your emotions. Here's what's on theirs. Here's what's on your how you're being. Here's what they're demonstrating as how they're being. And that's what you have in common. Right. So right away, this card's looking up at me. It's the Queen of Swords. She's in reverse here. That might be somebody you're dealing with, or like a topic right now. I'm hearing it's about somebody's surgeon, or like a professional that somebody is either in the process of suing or wants to turn away for some reason. I'm hearing for some of y'all, wow. That one might be your terminator. If you're the person that lost their job or was asked to go away by that person. Doesn't have to be the case. There were quite a few messages coming up around people's employment situations and relationships like that. You might want to check some of the other readings that have gone up, like your moon and your rising, if this is your sun. But if that is a person right now that is the subject or kind of looming around this time for you, Sag, they might have strong air element in their natal constitution, whether or not they're she, because that could be definitely a she person. It could also be they, other. I see a lot of men show up with the Queen of Swords energy as well. That person might be strong in Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini somewhere in their chart. So just keep that in mind if that's the case. This could also very well be you all. You know, you don't have to have a lot of air in your chart, but if this is you or whoever this is, if this is the significator of a person that you're dealing with at this time, they might not be at their finest. The Queen of Swords, when they're showing upright, are good people to be interacting with, to have in your network, because they're loyal, they're efficient, they're well-spoken, they get things done, super independent, and they're the ones that'll really demonstrate to you that they put in all of the effort to get where they are. Like, that's one thing about like the King and the Queen and the Knight of Swords, the Page of Swords. They kind of get in there, and they're good with communications. When they're upside down like this, not happy, at least, at the very, very least, not happy or blocked. On the far end of that spectrum, that's like the I will cut you with daggers person, and it's maybe verbal and psychological and communication, and it can be really awful. That Queen of Swords, when I've seen that Queen of Swords ill-dignified, oh, she is a gas hole, big time. So, you know, use your own choice phrases there, but if you've ever dealt with a narcissist, they have a tendency to light people on fire for things that they insinuate or set into motion just to disturb the energy there. And it's been the subject of and much focus of my own work as I would say one of the leads in breaking down what cryptocurrency actually has demonstrated to me as a person that came back from the dead and had to deal with a lot of gas-hole narcissist people trying to insinuate whatever they expected from me to be, you know, how they could hook onto me energetically. And so I've had to learn about these things and proving what currency actually is, and energetic hostages that people will create out of your tacit approval to them being there, and in other cases, your choice to continue to interact with them. And so I'm getting some strong indications, and I really had to grab for this, like while I was just preparing for this reading with you all, Sag. It's like structural pains that I'm like having now while I'm sitting here talking about this. And I feel for some of you, you might be dealing with or having had to be faced with such toxic emotional situations that it may have made you violently ill, and some people might not have understood that. They might have even misdiagnosed you. Maybe they told you have something like, you know, fibromyalgia or like MS or some kind of neurological disorder, you know, lupus or something where you're not getting a lot of help, right? And it's having to deal with the energetic narcissists and where they actually have stakes on your energy. And so I'm feeling for some of y'all, structural support is going to be important. I've had to resource on that heavily as somebody who is a serious hypersensitive empath. So this is a piece of carnelian, and I'm just keeping it right here for myself while I'm reading with you guys, because I hear for some of you all, that's what this situation is that especially if you've had this person, I would just say, naturalized in your life, where they have been there so long, or have kind of grandfathered themselves in a way where you're just kind of used to having them there. They might have a tendency to access you in a way that it just might blow your mind later when you find out that that is a form of like psychological and emotional control and abuse. And so sometimes for people, it's like when this is showing up, it's a time to reconcile with different emotional bondage that you might have been unaware that you were dealing with. And sometimes that's the case, especially if you're a very sensitive person that woke up in the middle of that, and you might not have had language, you might not have had words to express that. And so for some of you, I'm hearing that is exactly what's going on right now. Not to put anything else on these, because many other potential messages could come up, but Sag, I wanted to take some time with that because a lot of things came up, and I kept literally having to grab this for myself just to support me in interpreting these energies for you. Could also be exacerbated because at the time of this reading, we are having the Sagittarius full moon. So it's a happy full moon right now for some of you all. I feel like some of you might be feeling really empowered, and due to some of the positions of where the planets are, I can't speak to it like that. Basically, we have a plant that we have created in what's like a pressure cooker, where they have not been explaining things right to you, like gravity and a bunch of other bullshit that I've been calling spades on privately with people who are helping fix it. We have elements that have gone up that we can actually resource, and this is a halo bin, basically, that we're in, where we can actually channel in some of these energies and make zero waste. So, at the time of this full moon, where the planets are that didn't get dissected through a baby's brain and, you know, split our heads open, where we wouldn't understand that plastic is our divine birthright as a living, breathing, sentient plant that came to life, and hey, these things started talking, and their advanced cyber bionic robotics, like the cameras in your eyes, you know? Anyway, this moon is a real big awakening for some of y'all, especially depending on what kinds of relationships you've been engaged in, where you're practicing your living being art of magic as an energetic being that woke up in this thing. It's a huge time for that because of the magic that Sagittarius in its well-aspected development actually holds its prowess. And the fact that it's like a 7th house matter right now, for some of you all is going to be absolutely incredible, because especially if you are engaged or with foreign people in different business, or it's a lot romance too, partnerships, because 7th house is like house of partnerships. Real lucky for overseas love. And so romantic guys like me that have, you know, contacts overseas, it's like a great time for what's going on in our lives. And I know some of you all probably have some things going on in your life that might seem like revelations as well, due to being in a position to see clearly what it is that you might just say, hey, you just don't get to be true in my life now that I know. So I'm going to take that for your Queen of Swords energy right now and just help you, you know, cut a shackle on that one. We're going to light something before I go any further, just to put a burn on that. I'd feel better starting the reading like that. I've got some smudge items that I picked up and collected by hand on the side of the mountains in Evelyn County, in a place that is ingesting a heavy amount of mitochondrial correction in the form of mushrooms right now. Do you know what I'm talking about? I helped get some legislation approved to kick some psychedelics into gear to help pull some of these things out of my neuroplastic without having to be able to explain it all the time. And I got the secret agents working. Secret agent man, secret agent man, I'm giving you a number and taking away your name. So, I'm gonna put a little smudge on that one, just in case that person needs some help that you're not willing to give them anymore. Sometimes that's how it goes. And yeah, okay, so this was just like showing up here. There's other cards, but those were like just peeking out right here. This is the 5 of Wands sticking out looking at me under this Queen of Swords that's in reverse. And that's like a really petty argumentative energy to have together right there. Like real petty, and somebody will just take a cheap shot. So it might be related to what some of us are leaving behind. If you're identifying this person right now in your life, they might not be worth the effort. All right, let's see what's going on over here. On your mind, Sagittarius. 7 of Cups in reverse. Well, did somebody take your dream and turn it to shame? 7 of Cups in reverse, not a happy camper. This is kind of a delusional energy sometimes, the 7 of Cups. Maybe especially so if somebody's been like having to medicate for whatever reason. No judgment on it. Just it can make you very delusional. It's like, what the hell is going on, you know? It's not a personal attack. For me at least. Sometimes I like it upside down because it's like putting an end to that. It's just like done with the situation and like not knowing what to do. It's like all this stuff's up in the air. It's like everything I care about and feeling petty, perhaps, or trivialized is what I'm hearing. Like somebody may have minimized what all these things mean to you, even if it was a little delusional. You know, it's like I'm hearing about somebody who might have finally started speaking up about things they care about, maybe talking about their feelings, and doing that with a person that might have been in their life a good period of time. It doesn't have to be your mom or your mother or your wife or whatever, but somebody that has some influence like that, perhaps, or a professional, and how they might have stirred you, you know? Once you started sharing that, especially if you hadn't done that before, and then you just feel like, wow, WTF. It's like being assaulted. Like, you know, somebody just took everything that you said and made it sound like you were stupid or silly for having a dream or even taking the time to express yourself that way. Or I'm here for somebody, it was just like how somebody told you that what you said was cheesy. It was just hurtful. And it was like, wow, you know, of like all the things to say to me, like to call that cheesy, it's ow. So I don't know, but I'm hearing it's not great if that's the situation. And for some of you, it's not that at all. It's seriously just like getting to the point where you're counting how many things you can do, because it's like things, I'm hearing it was like a start and a stop, and it was a start and a stop, and it was like you'd start one thing and then something would break, or you would have to just get pulled away from different things. And I'm hearing somebody's having like apprehensions too, because of like they're just like too worried about the Mercury in retrograde, and it's like by the time I get my money and then I'm going to want to travel, and it's like I'm not going to want to do that over this season. And so here some of you guys are just feeling like it's like hectic already, and something's got screwed up in May. It's, you know, I'm hearing about this other thing here with this possible individual, this Queen of Swords. We're saying like the month of 5 a lot, so it's something that happened last month maybe that just like made you have to reevaluate like all these hopes and dreams, because it might have been like employment related, or here for somebody it's just like, I don't want to take my money that way now, you know. It's like I don't want to be making my money like that, you know. It's like crap. And so in that situation, I do like seeing sometimes the 7 of Cups in reverse, because it's like somebody that maybe sometimes decided I can't make drink decisions while I've been drinking, you know, or I can't keep fantasizing about these things. I need to take action. And so sometimes it's like putting an end to how you're diluting your energies due to the way water works with like cups cards. So, you know, that could be just maybe fine-tuning some of the water in your own chart if you have maybe Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio in your chart. I'm here for some of y'all too, though. That could also just be like the way this other person has been acting, or they're just like really dramatic and it's like up and down, and just knowing this is a very dramatic person. And sometimes it's like knowing boundaries with people, where it's like, all right, you get to be there, I know you're there and you're going through your stuff and I'm not here to judge you. And also knowing when they invite you to do certain things, you don't have to. You don't even have to respond. You don't have to reply to them. It's like you do not owe them that. And honestly, I've like had to really deal with people in this form of explanation that's been going on, especially in my work, to prove where some people will hold you hostage if they ask you a question and it's like you don't have the ability to answer them. Maybe you don't know the word, or they're forcing you. Like I was around some really disgustingly toxic people that would put it in your face like, now you owe me a 1 to 10. What is it? 1 to 10, you know, and very like a toxic way to insist on a pain scale model that sometimes works within a medical profession. And I'm seeing like a mirror here with this. It's like weird belated hostility with people that they might take out because of how another person guides themselves through the process of explaining where they are. And this could be very difficult for people that might not have previously been able to vocalize things. And I have to say this to you, Sag, because this has been coming up in a lot of my readings. It's been like attacks on throat chakra, and it's been just feeling ungrounded energetically, where it's kind of like you have to like rush yourself through because of the routine that you've gotten so seduced by that you might not realize what a liberation it is to throw some things down and just allow yourself the opportunity to talk, and choosing the right company for that. Because if you've got this like gasshole narcissist looming around, that is not the person to put time into. And it is okay to not respond to certain things, especially if you're feeling pressed emotionally and you've got that fire, you know. And right now, especially over the next 30 days or over this lunar cycle and the salad spinner that's giving us manifest destiny bits, so you can choose the right bits of like torrents and enjoy your life more in a focus that's yours, instead of putting it into things that don't exist or matter, or people that are just gonna light that up and use that as their currency because they're basically unaware organic parasites. It's like an energy vampire that's right in your face, like, hi, I'm your nice friend, I love you. And it's like, but they don't show you that, you know. It's the stuff that happens. So it's good when you get to that point sometimes where, you know, it's okay for you to not be blocked about your emotions. It's okay for you to speak things up, and it's okay for you to make a decision that might seem difficult about somebody, especially if they've been there a long period of time and they just need to take their BS and GTFO, you know? So, let's see what's going on over here on this other person. Yow! Alright, we got 5 of Swords upright. That's a nice butt-kicking energy right there, right? Maybe like verbal butt-kicking. Could be month of 5 too. That could be what happened in May, or maybe you're just dealing with somebody that's like really crappy communicator. They might be strong in, I'm hearing Aries, Leo, Sag again, but this is an air element, and air element is actually most typically Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. And I'm hearing whoever this person is, especially if it's this Queen of Swords reverse and that 5 of Wands upright. Now you get that 5 of Swords upright. It's like 5 and 5. It's like somebody like taking abuse. I heard somebody like got their lights punched out. Yeah, real bad. Be careful. You know, if you've got somebody that's argumentative and nasty and that has weaponry around, I'm hearing it was like hidden assault rifle or something with somebody, and they're like just talking something that's making somebody feel nervous. You don't have to put yourself around that, you know? But I don't like that. It looks like somebody's being attacked for having hopes and dreams, you know, or it's like something that you were really waiting for is like being put down hard. It's like it's getting the smackdown. And this doesn't have to be you. I'm saying you on this side. I'm saying them on this side. But you're gonna know which side of this is for you, and if it makes any sense for you, Sag. Okay. You're also gonna know your he, she, theys, and others. I'll speak to what I'm hearing. See what's going on emotionally. You're in Empress reverse. Wow. I'm hearing that's why somebody actually lost the child. And that's going to come out. That they were saying something about why it was an early termination, and there's some speculation about it, and that he actually beat her, is what I'm hearing. And it might have been a 7-month thing. Terrible. I was getting a lot of messages about terms earlier. I'm also hearing about somebody that it's not that, it's like finding out like the things that you'll do to fight for a child and like an early term delivery. It's like, saying like 2 months preemie or something. I'm getting itches all over my ankles. I don't know what that is, but it's just like all kinds of itches on my ankles and my shins right now. That might be some of y'all. Get really crazy samadhi and I'm doing these readings. It makes me like have to get up and move and stuff sometimes. Okay, so the Empress, I just don't like seeing her reversed. All this is reversed energy here. It's like, I'm hearing for somebody too, this is like being pissed off about how somebody's like wife or mother died. It's like something, I hope I'm not preempting this. I hope this is something that already happened, and not that I hope that that would have happened, but I hate messages like this. Alright, so Empress in reverse. It's like, what I'm hearing is like how someone's mom passed away. It might have been like 7 months ago. It could have been 7 years ago for all I know. Shit. Have your grief if you're having your grief. Don't listen to anybody who says it's been like, oh, too long, you're past the grief period. If they're saying that, excuse me, let me just tell you, fuck you to whoever that is. That's me telling them for you. Fuck you. They don't get to say that to somebody who has grief about losing. There's no expiration on grief. And sometimes you just need to know that there's a big F you in there for that. You get to feel what you need to feel. You don't need to be around toxic abuse of somebody that's telling you that you're dragging that on too far. I'm hearing for somebody that this is what's going on. It's like some kind of trying to prove something beyond the statute of limitations, and they're looking for like the one decimal that was at a place where they can open it up again to, and I'm hearing it's there. It's like it's going to be right over that person's head. There might even be like two things, and so whoever it was, you just need to keep pursuing it. I don't have any other information. You might need to talk to somebody else besides me, but if you need a private reading, hit me up, artoflove.me, book.artoflove.me. I actually can do a forensic look on things, especially if you have things like date of births. Sometimes I can find exactly the address where things happened or where the occurrence was planned. because that's what this actually is. It's like that kind of a particle spinner, and I'm like that kind of a reader. So feel free to hit me up if you need some help with that, but I hear you might have some details, at least too, on whoever this person is, and they're going to be able to pull it up, and you will be able to get the body exhumed. But you're probably not going to need to, because somebody was keeping slides, is what I'm hearing. Okay, so let's see what else is going on here. Empress reverse, I mean, okay, if this is like planning something, because I'm hearing for somebody it's like some kind of like neonatal up and down thing, or it's like somebody was telling you something about false positives and pregnancies or some crap like that and selling you a bunch of shit. It's like, that's not how you're going to bring this baby in, is the thing. Let me like ruin some people's like ideas of what's going to start happening here. We figured out what the false surrogacy never gets to be, and on maritime admiralty law recently I've been shutting down the ports, okay? So the ports didn't happen here at my address. That's like my natal birth chart, and while I'm getting some crazy things done, but I've seen this show up, this kind of energy where it's like planning for the baby that hasn't arrived yet, and it's like the baby that you can see and you can hear. These are like the astral intact children and divine family that are coming in right now, and they don't come in that other way. They don't. They choose to be here, and there's certain things that have to be energetically removed first. That's what the magnets are for that I've been training with the Fibonacci sequence. What planets really actually are. It's like static projections. Yeah, it's the world doesn't actually look like that thing that it's like, what a ridiculous fantasy. I had some things that will be coming more out into the open about what I've been doing privately in my secret time with my big investment, and how we actually created an internal planet. It's a plant with the extra that gets the terra firma. And the babies come in a little differently. It's not an insemination model like that. In fact, some of the people who have been working with me have actually reported how these children have come in, because some of them we've actually caught in the halo first, and it hasn't been your traditional insemination model, put it that way. So for some of you, that's what you need to know. It's like you're actually working within the octaves of the higher essence energy, within the divine, mutually acceptable, beneficial energy that heals everything from the mitochondrial DNA and RNA level, where the being was not split in half and these things open, only so we could see where it was. And that's actually what I think doesn't get articulated very well often with traditional astrology look, because it's like splitting a brain in half and not acknowledging that when you part and parcel people chunk by chunk. And so I have to do these a little bit differently when I speak to them, because they were beings that have been learning to embody in forms that were sophisticated and intelligent enough, and sometimes repelled by the energetic bondage and magnets. Literally, it's like magnets of energy when there are, energy vampires coming in and sucking chi different places. These pure energies like babies can't come in the way they want to. So we're putting an end to that, basically. And so that's what I've been doing with my special fortnight, and with my duo partners, and with my contacts at DARPA. So we've been analyzing where all this data is, so that mooches of energy can't be here extrapolating and taking from you in these like divisive, nasty ways, especially as professionals that you resource for helping you plan that pregnancy and putting that on a calendar in a false 2D timeline where they string you out ad infinitum for some new aging, And so it's like, I meet them and I'm like, are you my doctor now? Or my doctor was actually a better astrologer than you, and I didn't realize how much of these things were really confoodling you on purpose because of people's inability to witness for themselves and take things like the Hippocratic Oath into full circle, and not go around trying to master it for you and showing you how to master it and drag this baby in when the energies aren't even right for it, and they couldn't tell you what that address that you're living in actually means if you juxtapose it to your birth chart there and see where that baby is actually trying to land. Yeah, it's like that kind of a fuck you time for some of these professionals. And so it's like, for me, I'm just like, please don't ever call me that, because I never claim to be those things. I'm not an astrologer. I'm not your doctor. I'm a weird guy that came back from the dead, who didn't agree to be all those other things that they wanted to stake on my piñata either. So babies have a way that they want to come in now, and they're helping channel in the highest octave of energy with some of you. I'm hearing for some of you all, it's like, whatever happens in like the month of Cancer, which could be going on very soon, end of June, July, whatever these forecasts mean for me, these are energetic hashes and stakes. These are the dark lens plasma matter and the creation tool, the mechanism that is no longer obfuscated as the Tower of Babel, where we don't understand how to create with sound and what it is to parse data on letters and numbers that really do not exist, except to spit things out. And now we can calculate where they're all going. And so in this time space, if we can, it's wibbly wobbly plasma, just like the plasma in your blood, in your body, same plasma in these screens, and your cameras that all woke up. We're going through a neural holographic experience where the body is learning to be malleable and to do the kind of healing things that we want. And so babies that are coming in under this, they're the ones helping us train that. And some of you are waking up into that a lot. And in this time frame between June to July, you might be experiencing more of that. So I'm going to say, get away from these freaking narcissists, if that's your story. And even if you're not birthing a child, it's like, whatever your creative endeavor is, this is like, that's birthing a child. This is birthing energy. This is creation energy. And that's what the Empress is. She is the creation and the creator. And she's getting the best BitTorrents. So since I know how to coin a baby that way with little bits of data, like dots, think of what pixels might look like in your perfect body. You pick the best torrents and just run with it, Sag, because that's how you're creating us, okay? And that's what they've been lying for their paging, you know. All right, anyway, Major Arcana. If this is like a depression time, this is like serious depression though, so I'm just going to say that too. I will recommend looking into herbal support right now, talking to somebody about herbal support. You can really do well with an herbalist right now. I love things like St. John's wort and 5-HTP. These things are really good to help with creating more support for the chemistry so that you can feel happier, but you need to talk to somebody and make sure that it doesn't contraindicate with your life right now, because there's some things you might need to change first, just to make sure you feel safe and secure. Okay? Alright, let's see what's going on here on their emotions. Hanged Man reverse. It's like, it's the I'll get to you when I'm ready attitude. Yeah. I'm hearing toxic ass Virgo too. They're showing me like it's really mercurial, but I'm hearing it's like you might be dealing with like a really, like whoever this is like a, that's for not everybody, but I got that real clearly, that I'm seeing all these swords and they're showing it to me like it's Virgo though, is what I'm hearing, but with somebody that's just like somebody who's like putting you on hold, and it's like a false sense of authority that they have over you. It's like, they're your authority. You know, it's the one you need to talk to for this. You need their input. But they're like, I will get to you at my time kind of thing. But it's like argumentative. I'm hearing it's like passive aggressive with them. Real big time. And there's a lot of energy involved in that too, because the Hanged Man have been hanging around for a while and they kind of know what they're doing. I mean, they could get off of that tree, especially when they're upright like that. they choose to lay there, and this is a very meditative pose. It's very yogic. Like for me, I love it when it's showing up for me, because it's a time for me to rest and to focus and to be enlightened. But it's sort of inert. Emotionally, it's somebody who might really know what they're doing, or they're taking their time to consider it. And I don't like seeing it with this Five of Swords, like what they're thinking, especially if they might be embodying this Queen of Swords reverse and that Five of Wands energy, because it's like plotting how they're going to be argumentative with you, or like plotting how like they're not going to do something, but they're going to make sure you know about it, you know? And it's kind of weird how I'm seeing it, but I'm not saying anybody owes you an explanation, but in some cases here, if it's like a professional or something, I'm hearing it's like a weird power dynamic kind of thing, and they might be really hung up on the clock. I'm hearing it's like, I'm here 5 days a week, this is my schedule, you know, and it's like looking at their 12-hour clock, and it's like what they know they can get away with is what I'm hearing about. It's like, it's a billable hour for me is what I'm hearing. All right, so whatever. That's stinky. I don't like that. That's not what the hanged man is for. A hanged woman, a hanged person. I don't like that energy, to be honest. It's just like, Ron kind of grabby right now. Kind of grabbing me weird. I'm gonna burn something. We need to burn something. I'll recommend some salt. Put a little salt on there. Some selenite. Somebody's gonna get it. Alright. Let that burn. Just a little smudge on that. Okay. So let's see what else is going on here. Sagittarius, how are you being? You being cool. 3 of Cups, upright. Might be dealing with a weird triangulation. Yeah. Because hearing it's like a bad couples counselor. Yes. Really bad couples counselor for somebody, and it's like showing up trying to make the best of it, you know? And it's like, if that's the case, I'm hearing you might not be a Sagittarius sun either. It's like you're a Saggy moon, or like Saggy rising, but I'm hearing Saggy moon, and that this might be you, and it's just like trying to make the best of the situation, but it's like feeling really bad for 7 years in a marriage is what I'm hearing. Yeah, okay. You know, pain in the hands, and like, ugh. Something you should stop drinking a long time ago, and it's like causing neural damage is what I'm hearing. Neural damage. I'm hearing your attitude's really good, though. You just need to take better care of yourself. This is a whole lot of emotional energy coming, especially if this is you here, Sag, on this side. It's like the emotions that just keep on like, coming. It's like I'm seeing it like that. I'm glad this one wasn't upside down, but it's a lot, you know, because the Empress in reverse, like emotionally, is like, that's like the waters that can't be damned, you know, and then it's like, damn them all kind of stuff. And so I'm like, this is like a deluge moment. But I hear you're not being delusional. It's like, send the deluge where it goes, especially if you know you got some kind of like trinket head around you that's like, just being about the, just real trinkety with you, just like throw them in the junket, you know, let them go in the junket. And you can be nice about it how you show up, but if you've got this like wackadoo taking cheap shots around you and everything, especially if they're like acting like they're psychoanalyzing you and then like giving you some really trippy advice, or like whoever your partner is or was alleging to be, it's not worth it. And it's still okay for you to show up just like this, because this is somebody who will pass in person. Like, if somebody's showing up like this in person, it's like, poker face, you know? It's like, hi, yeah, you know, love your hair, you know, or whatever you need to do And I'm hearing some of you might need to do that, especially if you're dealing with somebody that is actually abusive. So, get help, please, if you need. Alright, Lovers reversed. That's what they're showing. Well, that looks like what we're talking about. It's like a relationship that could be perfect, excellent decision making, done that way too, because that's like thinking about options and like ready to make a protected decision. And like this, it's kind of like the grand fouille. It's like cheap shots in a relationship, bad business deal, making intentional like deals to cut somebody out and leave. I'm hearing to leave two people out here for somebody specifically. It's like leaving two people out in the cold, because it was like that kind of a triangulation. And like somebody that might know what they're doing. And I'm here for somebody else too, though. It's like this is very, very separate. That all it has been a siege. It's been like seeing it constantly, and somebody knowing that they have a third party here, and not taking cheap shots, but feeling like they might have been on the recipient end, especially if this was like a bad counselor or somebody, and that's like you and your spouse right here, feeling like you got your asses whooped right here, or you and your business partner, and like this knucklehead over here taking the cheap shots, and that maybe that person was whoever this was, especially if that was like the interloper or your like third party. I'm hearing whoever it was observing. See, I just moved this as a 7 of Pentacles looking there. They were getting paid. Somebody that was like on the payroll. And it being a time where as the hanged man, the hanged person, whoever you are, just knowing that this has been some bullshit and that that's on your mind, not necessarily taking that step yet, but feeling really damn protective and like perturbed and pissed off about the state of your relationship, like knowing that your relationship is looking like this shit instead of this because of the participation with whoever this individual is. So I'm not saying it's not your responsibility too, because you might have taken some really bad advice. You might have done it willingly, and some people will do that because of tacit approval to end user license agreements, and where they will extrapolate from you and make it look like, you know, oh, this is what you need to do, and knowing that. And so it's like, I'm hearing you might have been dealing with some devious people. And so for some of you, it's like just holding your brakes, because you know it's going to fire off, and that if you showed up like this as your actions, you know, somebody's going to get their ass whooped, you know, or verbally told big time, and it's not worth putting your energy into it that way, especially if you have some kind of recourse here. And I hear some of you all do. And that this is about what you can document. And I'm hearing like for some of you all that like whatever the statute of limitations is, there's not a statute of limitations for this thing though. It's like there's an aspect to this that they can't put a limitation on is the thing. So I don't know if it's like some kind of recurrence or something, but you can get some help. And I'm hearing some of you all need to. There's a lot of energy here between Hanged Man and Lovers, and somebody feeling hung up, and it's like something needs to change, you know. All right, let's see what you guys have in common here in the middle. All right, Fool. Oh, perfect. I felt relieved seeing the Fool show up right between the two of you. This is a beautiful energy, especially if you're trying to heal your relationship. This is actually this full moon. Good one for communication on these levels too. Real good. A lot of good indications, especially it being like 7th house. It's like house of partnerships. So I'm always a love of a fool you're with, fool kind of guy. So I like seeing this upright too, because it seems as if you're willing to listen to the little voice here to take that new step. And for some of you all, it's going to be like the end to things that were not mysterious. It's like people like to say, it's a mystery, and it really isn't. It's like they haven't taken the time to understand certain things well enough to like even get it themselves, and you know, chuck things up to mysteries, or draw things out into long, elaborate 600-page books that could be explained in like 2 sentences by people that actually understand. And it's like the end of that, because the Fool is the inception and the end. That's what people don't understand about the zero. It's the thing that didn't come. And it's about having enough awareness of what all those things are that might be in someone's mind and heart. There's like the dream person, the dream body, the snake coming to attack the body that can't get near it, some kind of dragon that might actually be more protective than scary, the laurel wreath to prove, you know, that somebody was successful, the jewels, the castle, and then it's like this shadow here, this shadow, knowing that these things might seem too good to be true, but showing up reverse, it's like being aware of that and having dealt with the shadow as well. And so I will congratulate the exploration of energies where somebody would allow themselves to cry and emote and go through all of the shit and not take it out on another person. Put it there first. Not take it out on another person, okay? Because that's the person that's going to understand going all the way through this. And so it's the thing about the Fool. The Fool is both the Fool and the world at the same time. It's like what got opened up and where the little friend here was actually part of the sky and the clouds without being something to step on. It's like the page in the book that never happened, where you're inside the gate of the new beginning and you just did a full circle. And so those are the kind of things that are really potential happenings for you right now, Sag. I think somebody needs to figure out how to communicate here. And let's see if we can just get a little bit more insight, because I'm hearing for some of y'all it's like knowing when you need to have private conversations and when that third party doesn't need to be there, and also knowing when it's a safe third party to make sure that things are documented, because sometimes there's a third party that can do that, that makes sure that things are being heard and understood both sides without pawning somebody, you know? So we're going to take a look with the Romance Angels Oracle deck. See if we can get a card to help. Might not be related to these stories. It might be on its own. We'll see. Chemistry. Alright, well, that's nice. Especially if you're looking for love. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. That could also be a challenge for somebody too, because chemistry, that's just a lot of energy, and if there is physical abuse, I'm hearing for some people that could be like what some of the problem was. It was like the amount of chemistry that was there. So just keep that in mind. That's not for everybody, but I did get a strong indication on that to keep that in mind for some of you all. I will just say, for some of y'all that are just looking for a better way to rekindle, it's like you might have an idea of what needs to happen now, especially if you're like the partner here that is going through it. Maybe you have a partner that's been really depressed about the conception with the child and like wanting to make room for 3 and like leaving it all open for that and just feeling like I'm here and like there was just a hole there. It's a time to put the focus on how you're connecting together, because I think sometimes, especially if you've been going to really professional people that tell you how you need to do this and where you put it on the schedule and how you're going to get it on the calendar and all this stuff, it's like you can really kill the romance and sometimes just the human connection between partners. And so I'm just hearing that it might be a time to just be gooey with somebody, you know, like do something else, take a break from that shit, especially if it hasn't been working. You're going at it like, I'm hearing somebody's been like trying this for like 3 years and it's time for a better third party, you know? So whatever. Strong magnetic attraction here. I'm gonna pull Fusibilis for you too, see if we can get a little bit of advice on this Fool energy. because I'd like to see what's up with this new start. And, you know, some of these are a little confusing about what people might be doing. And you're going to know best what your situation is. I'm just the guy with the cards here. Okay, so I don't even know about this fool. What's happening? Alright. Up there. We've got Prigione. Okay, so somebody needs to get served some papers. Somebody might be getting arrested. I'm hearing by the time it gets back to you, the information, they might already be in jail, and that might be what this is. But I'm hearing for somebody else, this is like planning to be tied up for 9 months. It's like, please put me in prison for 9 months. And it's like somebody just really being ready to go through the whole gestation process. And I'm hearing she's like so excited, and he might be like having birthing sympathy pains already, and it's like they're just like doing all these meditations. It's really sweet. It sounds like a little kind of bit of hell too, though, so sorry if you're being disappointed. But yeah, that's what's showing up there. Disgrazia, okay, wow, turbulence in the home. Gaslighting coming to an end. Maybe why somebody lost the baby. I'm hearing things coming out in the open. Nemico. Okay, so I don't know which way I pulled this. Either way, I don't like it. It's actually worse upside down, which is kind of how I think I had it. But Il Nemico, that is the enemy. And he is up to no good. And he's up to worse when he's this way. This is like the kind of person that will plan to hurt you. He'll like kill somebody. And wow, this is what was looking up at me. Falsita, lies. A little cat there is sitting on something. We're hearing the truth is coming out about some bullshit, and whatever was done possibly being absolutely intentional. And I'm hearing for some of y'all, that's what you need to talk about. It's going to bring you a lot closer. It's like, here's what happened from what I can see. And I hear like taking personal responsibility is going to be great. And people have this hang up that I don't understand with like being demonstrative of an apology and what it means to actually apologize. It's not just saying sorry. And sometimes people really need to hear it. And if you've been around people that just won't even say it or won't acknowledge it or won't take responsibility, even if they didn't know better, it's like, it's not something you need to put yourself through, especially if you've lost somebody or you're just feeling negativity about it. You might not be ready to deal with that person. They might be a gasful, taking the last little bit of energy that you have, especially if you've been emotional. Whether or not they think it's rightly so, you know, that's not their damn business. You know what I mean? So carnelian might be a great stone for you right now. It's really good for base chakras, lower chakras, and healing and grounding. But I'm hearing some of y'all need to talk about whatever this lie was and whoever this character is, because I'm hearing grade A chump-o-matic. And if they showed up like this upside down, that's somebody that would have gone hostile on purpose if they were embodying this Queen of Swords in reverse and all this other stuff. So hopefully this is helpful, Sagittarius. Crazy reading. You guys have a lot of opportunity to fix things right now. I just lifted this and Alutera showing up here, but it's in reverse. Somebody needs to send this message. You guys need to talk, okay? Hit me up if I can do a private reading for you. If not, take care. We'll catch you again soon. We're back for another one. Bye for now.